Hey, what's up everybody? This is Josh from Upright Health. Matt just made a great podcast on sitting, and I would suggest all you guys to listen to it. We'll throw a link in the description, but spoiler alert, I'm about to tell you what it was about. It was about sitting, and what Matt kind of says is that sitting in itself is not a terrible activity, right? It's the amount of sitting that we're doing in this modern lifestyle that can have some negative effects on our body, right? So when we're sitting for 12, 14, 16 hours a day, then yes, that can become harmful to us, right? And I thought that was a really good point, and I couldn't agree more with that. And I used to be of kind of the mindset of sitting is bad, sitting's evil, but now, I think that the human body is made to be able to sit down, and sometimes it needs to sit down, okay? So instead of thinking of sitting as a total negative thing that we have to do, maybe we can use some strategies to get more out of sitting than we previously would. So in this video, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some effective ways that you can use to get the most out of your sitting, okay? So first off, one of the things that I see most common when it comes to people getting issues from sitting is that we're having issues with the pelvis spine region, okay? So those things are coming out of alignment. What I mean by that is that the hips and the torso are not stacked properly on top of each other, okay? Now, we've all probably seen, or maybe we've caught ourselves doing the slouch, right? Getting a lot of curve in our back, and maybe we're just slaying away here, and that's pretty common. We know that that's bad, but then what do people do to make sure they're not doing that? And to correct that, we kind of do this and we get here, right? Well, this is another bad position, because in this position, our rib cage is flared up, we have no tension in the stomach here, our lower back is overextended, and then our hips are in kind of anterior pelvic tilt here, okay? So we go from here to here, we're just in these poor positions throughout the day, right? And what we need to do is we need to find a neutral spine, pelvis to stack on top of each other, so we can, so our muscles and our body are in kind of the right optimal positions to be in, right? So what I first want to do is I want to have my knees and my hips kind of at this 90-90 position, okay? So my feet are going to be stacked right under my knees here, and then I also don't want my knees kind of sprawled out to the side like this, right? We want to keep this pretty neutral, pretty straight right here, okay? And now getting into the hip torso region, what we really want is for this pelvis to just kind of sit under us, right? So we don't want this tipped forward position. We don't want to tuck under like this. And you see what my spine does, it compensates with those positions. So we just want that thing sitting under us, right? And if you know that you have a tendency to tip forward, then tip back a little bit, right? And vice versa, okay? And now how we can kind of hold this good position is we can keep a little bit of tension in the stomach, right? Now, we don't have to be, totally engaged here all day while we're working on stuff, but as long as we have just a little bit of tension there, then that means that these ribs are gonna be in a good position. We're not gonna be flared up like this, okay? Now, one kind of tool you can use to make sure that you're in this good aligned position is to use your breath, okay? Now, before you're like, oh, what's this hippie stuff? The breath is a good indicator that you are aligned properly, okay? Because if you get in an overextended position and try to take a deep breath, you can't really breathe down into your diaphragm belly area, right? Your chest cavity fills up first. And same with the slouch position. If I'm here, right, my airways and pathways aren't aligned to be able to take full deep breaths, okay? So if I'm stacked properly, then I can breathe deep into my diaphragm, and then the air expands into my lungs and my chest cavity, okay? And that's a way that you can test is you just put your hands here on your belly. Make sure that your belly is inflating first and then your chest is inflating after, okay? And if you're able to do that, that means that you're pretty well aligned, right? Another thing is, so if you're having any trouble with finding this position, which there's a good chance that you might be, me and Kristen did a great video on some breathing exercises that you can do where you're actually going to be in the same position, but you're going to be down on your back on the ground, and you're just going to be finding a good brace position to breathe in and keep stability throughout kind of your core region, right? So check that out. We'll link that somewhere on the screen if you're having issues with this. And then the other thing is letting the head come forward, right? Getting this forward head posture. The way that we want to avoid this is we just kind of want to think, tuck the chin, right? Tuck the chin. We want these eyes level to what we're looking at, right? We don't want to slump forward here. We want to tuck the chin, and then another little cue you can use is putting the tongue to the top of the mouth here, okay? Boom. If your tongue comes forward, then your head usually is going to follow it, okay? Okay, guys, so those are just a few just basic little strategies that we can use throughout the day to maybe use the times when we have to sit to work on some breathing, some stability stuff, so we don't have to think, oh my gosh, I have to sit for an hour, I'm going to be so tight after. Maybe we can use this as to our advantage. So then, you know, if we're used to this good breathing pattern, if we're used to trying to keep a little bit of tension in our abs, and hopefully that's going to carry over to other activities that we're doing throughout the day, and, you know, we'll be conscious of those things. All right, guys, if you have any questions, be sure to let us know. Remember, pain sucks, life shouldn't.